What do these new electronic displays share in common with these older style mechanical gauges? They both install into a standard round opening in your panel. Even radios and transponders are fitting into these standard round openings. I want to show you what I consider the best way to make instrument panel cutouts for your aircraft. The good news is that there are only two standard sizes of openings you need to contend with for your panel. The 2 1/4 inch, that's the diameter size, and the 3 1/8 inch. If we can make those two sizes, we are all set. And it's not just making the opening, it's also being able to drill and locate the small holes for the instrument screws and being able to locate them very accurately so that the instrument fits the first time. These can be quite a challenge if you just try to drill them freehand. One tool we are not going to use is the hole saw. It's not super accurate and requires that you use it properly with a drill press and some sort of backing material behind the metal that you're going to cut. And also we have an issue that while we can easily get a 2 1/4 inch hole saw, the 3 1/8 size for the larger instrument size is kind of a specialty item. Good luck finding that locally. We also don't want to use a fly cutter. I've lent mine out. If you don't know what a fly cutter is, that's okay. Not really appropriate for instrument panels. Let's skip directly to the proper tool and show you how easy it is to use. And here it is. This is my panel punch. It's basically a knockout punch with the proper sizes just for aircraft panels, the 2 1/4 and 3 1/8. Basically made up of 3 parts. There's the male with the blade and the female, and these simply go together. Your panel is in between, and it squeezes together and knocks out the hole. If you turn it around, we find that we have the smaller size. The cutter, the male and the female, squeeze together, and we have a perfect 2 1/4 inch. So with the one tool, by simply reversing the pieces, we have both hole sizes. There's a bolt that goes through the middle, and we'll demonstrate this shortly, but basically it goes through the middle and squeezes the two pieces together with your panel in the middle. The only requirement is that you drill a hole for the bolt to go through when using the tool. And that is a 5/8 inch hole that you locate at the center of where you want your knockout to go. Let us demonstrate. So let's pretend this is your panel. And by the way, this panel could already be installed in your aircraft and you could still create the hole. Right at this location, I want to create the smaller, the 2 1/4 inch hole for an instrument. So I first drilled a pilot hole at the center location. Next, I want to drill a 5/8 inch hole, and I will use a unibit to drill that up to 5/8. And there we go. The hole is big enough for the bolt to pass through. Now, our next step is to install the punch. And we're going to use the smaller size, not the larger one. So you have a 50-50 chance of picking the correct size. I'm just kidding. And the same with the other half. As long as they match, you're all set. These can go in either direction. I can put this one here or put the other one there, but one goes on one side, one goes on the other. Just that simple. Grab your bolt, You grab the other half, and that's going to go on the back side. And then there is a nut that screws onto the end of the bolt on the back side. I flipped the camera around so you can see what's happening on the back side. I'm basically just using my ratchet to tighten these together. And by the way, I'm using 63 thousandths for my aluminum panel here. I believe this punch will go all the way up to 1/8 inch aluminum, which is more than thick enough for a panel. And it, of course, can do the lighter gauge. There's one pop. You don't want to stop. Biggest mistake is people quit after the first pop. There's a second cutter in there, and it needs to crack a second time. There it goes. That means we can now take this apart. I'll reverse the nut off and show you what we got. Bolt comes out, and there you go. The cutout went into here, and I can pop that out with the screwdriver. And that is a perfect hole. There are no burrs on that. It is exactly the right size. Now let's talk about locating those little holes for the screws that hold the instrument in. By the way, here's the instrument I'm going to install, a slip skid indicator. Look how nicely that fits. That is just absolutely tight, but not too tight. And of course, this is typical. There's 4 small holes that we need to locate. The last thing we want to do is to try and use the instrument as a template, but that's basically the idea that we want to accomplish here. This is an instrument template, and it's made out of metal, and it looks a little bit rusty there. It's also made for the 2 sizes. Flip it over, and the way this works is you can see these little tabs. These tabs on both sides allow you to insert this into the hole. So note how I take this, I turn it around, and there we go, a little coordinated there. It fits into the hole very nicely. Of course, I can rotate it. We'll assume that I want it straight. And what it has then are these holes, which I can use with my drill to drill exactly into the locations I want. The only requirement is that I have this positioned properly. Now we want to cleco this as we go so that it doesn't move as we drill the remaining holes. And it is guaranteed that those holes will be just right from a position standpoint to accept our instrument. And that will work out very nicely.